So today marks the first video in a while that is not part of a video series, standalone video. Besides, of course, the fact of the interviews that I've done, because we finished that video series last week. So I hope you guys learned something from it and were able to gain some insights. But to kick things off this week, I want to focus on a specific group or community. That's what this video is going to be tailored towards. But I do want to say as a disclaimer, before I tell you which group I'm going to be focusing on or honing in on, don't let that be a cop-out for you not to watch the rest of this video. Don't think that because you're not part of this community or group that this video then does not apply to you, because I feel like it can apply to each and every one of us, even outside of this community, that we could all learn something and hopefully plug it into our own lives. But with that said, I want to really, like I said, hone in to this specific group because I feel like they really need to hear this. They really need to be told this because I don't think they have been told this. And that community is the trans community. So if you know anybody that is part of this community, I hope you will share this video with them. And if you yourself that is watching is part of this community, I hope you will press in and watch the whole thing. And hopefully you'll be encouraged and maybe a sense of renewed outlook, or a different outlook at least. So with that said, with all of that said, let's jump into this. Now, before we actually get into the meat of today's video, I know what some of you are probably thinking. Whether you're part of this community or not, you're probably thinking the same thing. Alex, we've seen the videos that you've put out in the past, the LGBTQ videos, part of the video series, and even outside of that. We know where you stand. So why specifically this video to this community or this group? And I first want to say, before I even answer that, is that if those of you that are watching are actually part of this community, first of all, thank you for watching. Thank you. But to answer your question, I first have to show you a clip, because that's really what sparked this whole idea of this video. And this clip is of Madison Pruitt-Trout. She was talking on her podcast, her Stay True podcast, this idea of being content and confident. And I really want to show you this clip because this really, I think, brings this whole idea together. And then we'll unpack this a little bit. So let's look at this.
What if we try to find our, value or worth or happiness in a following, in a friend, in a relationship status, in fame and money, and any of those things, we will be left unhappy. We will be left unhappy. Because a lot of times we say, I would be more confident if I found my spouse. I would be more confident if I looked this way. I would be more confident if I blew up on social media and had a lot of followers. I promise you, if you are not content here, and if you are not confident here, you will not be confident and content there. That is a lie, that the grass is greener on the other side. And what changed my life was when I heard the grass is greener where you water it. The grass is greener where you choose to invest and say, this is my life. This is what's been given to me. These are my looks. This is my body. This is my heart. This is my wiring. I'm going to continue to grow and get better every day, but I'm not going to neglect what I have and throw it away because it's not what I want it to be. I'm going to invest in it, and I'm going to become the best version of myself and be all that God has called and created me to be. And so I encourage you, stop comparing your life to other people. And stop allowing the pressures and the expectations of social media and culture to define who you are. And stop allowing your past and the things behind you to determine your future. That is not who you are anymore. And you get to choose what that looks like. You get to choose if you're going to be confident and if you're going to walk in the path and the life that God has called you to walk in. And so, just some takeaways.
So some things I want to highlight from that video or that clip is she said, if you try to find your happiness or worth or value in a following, a friend, or a relationship status, or a community, you will feel empty. You will feel unhappy. And I gotta ask, if you answer honestly, after having done the gender reassignment surgery, or whatever they call it nowadays, do you feel happy? Or do you still feel empty? Has that changed the feeling that you had in your head that you were born in the wrong body? Do you feel complete now? Now, you'll have some people that don't want to be honest, that say, yes, of course, I feel great now. I feel like I have a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging, a sense of community. You could have a sense of community without castrating yourselves and, cutting body parts off of yourself. Now, she also said that people think that I'll be more confident if my body looked this way. And I think that's the lie that you guys are sold. Is that you would be more confident if you chopped this off and chopped that off and changed your gender. When in fact, no, that does not make you more confident. That just makes you a mangled up human being that is still empty, searching for something. And now it's a permanent decision and you can't go back. You can't go back. Because she also mentions that if you are not confident or content here, you will not be confident or content over there. And that's true. That is true. It's like a hamster in a wheel. You're constantly running, going nowhere. If you're not content or happy in the body and the gender that you were born in, trust me, lobbing them off and saying now that you're a man, or vice versa, whichever case it is, that is not going to make you more confident or content. The lie that people say the grass is greener over there, that's another thing she mentioned. On the other side, the grass is greener on the other side. And she said, no, the grass is greener where you water it. That's true. That's true. Believe that. Water the grass where you're at. Water where you're at. Take time and invest. If you were born biologically a man, embrace that. Embrace that. God did not make a mistake. God did not make a mistake. And if you were born a biological woman, embrace that. Own that. That is a beautiful thing. God did not make a mistake. You are not a mistake. He didn't go, oops, I meant to make a man and I made a woman. Or, oops, I meant to make a woman and I made a man. No. He intended to make who you are. So, even if you were a female and you feel like you resonate or feel more like you have more in common with the guys, that does not mean you go and lob off your stuff and become a guy or try to become a guy. You just have more stuff in common with guys. That doesn't make you any less of a woman. And vice versa with the men. Now, you are intended to be in the body that you were born in. So, please remember that. I brought this scripture up in last week's video, but I feel like it's very pertinent for this video as well. So I want to bring it up again, and I'm going to put it up on the screen. I'm going to be reading from the New Living Translation, and this is Psalms chapter 139, verses 13 to 16. It said, "You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." That does not sound like you were an afterthought or you were a mistake. Think about this. Verse 16, you saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed. Now, you might be thinking, oh, well, if every day was recorded, then he knew that I was going to change my gender, that I was going to do this assignment search. You missed the point. He had a plan for you in the gender that you were born in the sex that you were born in. If you were born a woman, he had a plan for you. But we get to make our own decisions as individuals with freedom of choice. We can choose what we want to do, whether we want to accept him and accept his plan for our life or not. And so you chose to go down this path, but he had a plan for you in the body that you were biologically born in from birth. You're not an afterthought. Look at this. Verse 15. You watched me as I was being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You watched me. He watched you. So there is no, oops, I made a mistake. God did not make a mistake. You are not a mistake. So if you were born a man, he did not make a mistake and really intend for you to be born a woman. No. We cannot play God. We cannot play God. And I don't think that this community has really been told that. I think that what's going on now, especially with how much people are doing this, is we're being taught in schools that you can pick which gender you want. And we're not being told the actual reality and the actual fact of the matter is you cannot. If you were born a man, you were born a man. If you were born a female, you are a female. You cannot change. God intended you to be the sex that you are. And I know some of you are probably thinking, okay, but I don't believe in the Bible. So what good does that do me? To that, I say this. Just because you don't believe in the Bible does not mean it's not true. Just because you don't believe in the Bible does not mean it's not true. If you don't believe in gravity, that does not mean that gravity does not exist. It exists. Just because you don't believe in it and you don't want to believe in it, this is the facts. We have a creator, God in heaven, and he created each and every one of us for a purpose. And he has a plan for each and every one of us, for each and every one of you, each and every one of you in the body that you were born in. That's the facts. And that's what people don't want to tell you. You're being told a lie from the pit of hell. And I want to make sure that you hear the truth. God is the creator, and he created each and every one of us. So he is the one that has to say what body we belong in. And so if you were born a man, you're a man. Embrace it, accept it, and don't change it. He has plans for you. If you were born a woman, embrace it, accept it. Don't try to change it. Don't look at it as a negative. It's a great thing to be the gender that you were born. It is a great thing. Don't look at it as a, man, I resonate more with the opposite sex, the other sex. So I must be that sex. I must not be the one that I was born in. No. We are all individuals. We all have different likes and dislikes. My brother likes more like the rap music. I'm not a fan of rap music. Now, of course, that's a much simpler analogy. I'm more of a country music person, really. But that is beside the point. The point is, he has his likes and dislikes. I have my likes and dislikes. So that does not mean we have to like every single thing. So just because you are a female and you don't typically like the stuff that most females like, that's fine. That doesn't mean you're not a female. And if you're a male, if you don't like a lot of the typical stuff that guys like, I don't really like football like they do, but I'll try to like football, and I don't like sports. To be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of sports. I mean, I watch baseball, but I got into baseball. But I'm not a big fan of like football or really soccer or UFC. A lot of people like UFC. Point being is we all have our different likes and dislikes. So don't put yourself in a box and say that if you don't like this, that most everybody else likes, then I must be born in the wrong body. I must belong to the opposite sex. No. You were born in the exact intended body that God planned for you. So don't try to change his plan and take the reins and the controls and the steering wheel away from him. I have a shirt that says, God is still writing your story. Stop trying to steal the pen. Stop trying to steal the pen. Leave the pen in God's hands. He knows, he is the author of our lives, of your life, everyone's life. And he knows what's best. You are not a mistake. Say that to yourself. If you have to repeat it over and over and over and over again. I am not a mistake. I'm not a mistake. You are intentional. You were intentionally put together in the body that you were meant to be in. Don't change it. Don't change it. Give the pen back to God. Let him continue to write your story. You might be thinking to yourself, well, I've already done the surgery. I've already lobbed this stuff off. How is he going to be able to fix that? It's a permanent decision, like you mentioned earlier. God is a God of miracles. What's impossible for man is possible with God. Nothing is impossible for God. So give him the pen and let him work his masterpiece. Sure, you trying to change your gender was not part of his original plan and design for you, yes. But can he still give your life purpose and meaning so that it's not empty? Yes. Yes, He can. Trust Him. Trust Him. These are the facts. These are truths, undeniable truths. And I feel like we have been shying away from talking specifically to this community, you guys. And I want to make sure that you know. I hope this encouraged some people, if not all of you. And if you're still watching, thank you. Thank you for making it all the way here. So just know that God is in control. He is in control. He lets us make our decisions, but He is ultimately in control. And He uses people. He brings people, whether it's videos or actually like a person in your life sometimes, to really change direction and make you shift from the path that you're going down because you strayed too far away. Sometimes He will divinely intervene, and sometimes He will let you keep going down the path until hopefully you turn back on your own and decide to adjust course. This is hopefully going to help you adjust course. Hopefully help you to turn back to God. Draw close to Him. Don't listen to all the noise of the world and all the people saying that you can pick your own gender and you can lob this stuff off and no. Don't listen to them. That is a lie from the pit of hell. God was intentional, very intentional, and He created you, man and woman, in the respective bodies that you were born in. It's not a mistake. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you were encouraged, like I said. If you were, share it with somebody and spread this message to others. Let them know. Let them know the truth. And until then, until next week, all of you, stay safe. Stay safe out there and be blessed.